Check your calendars, everybody. It is not April the 1st because this is not a prank at all. Florida State has landed an official visit for a 5-star quarterback. You heard it right. If this auto played from a different video and you said nonsense, what is this video from 2017? No, this is present day. Michael Langston is here to discuss it on Warchant TV. Florida State landing an official visit in June for 5-star quarterback Keisean Henderson. He's based out of Texas. And Michael, feel free to share as much as you want or as little as you want about what you said to me before we started recording this video, because I have not watched this kid's film or his huddle tape, his highlight reel. I haven't seen one thing about this kid. Tell me and tell the audience about Keisean Henderson.
I will say this. For me, this is the one. This is the one that I think, like, that you land this type of kid, it changes the whole shift of your program. Obviously, he's committed to Houston. And a lot of schools have tried, to get in there. Georgia's tried to get in there. Auburn, other schools have tried to get in there. But FSU's the only one where, as Steve Wilfong reported earlier on 3, there's some, general from the behind the scenes, there's some stuff that's working for FSU. And this is the one that really would shift the dynamics of, to me, the coaching future of even the staff, just in general, where it's going. If you land a guy like this, you're talking about a 5-star prospect that does a little bit of everything. Very elusive, as people see in this, and then just the first throw right there, Tom's like, "What?" That's like that. Some of these throws are just ridiculous, and just his athleticism is off the charts. Kudos to On 3. They got on him before anybody. I think a lot of them have him as a 4-star, but this kid is just electric as you can find, and just he just makes things happen that you just can't teach. And the reason I say this is the one is because when you think about it, it's like Gus Malzahn. Look what he did with Cam Newton. Look what he did with Nick Marshall, who had a phenomenal career, who eventually lost to FSU in the national title game, but he was a chore to handle for FSU. And Cam Newton speaks for itself of what he did, the year they won the title. So I think when you have a guy like this, I think that's probably going to be the strong pitch of, hey, this is what I can do for you in this offense. And I think that's part of the reason why there's been some steam and things picking up of just the fit in general, because when you look at it, it's a pretty nice situation if he did end up at FSU, because you have Thomas there, but then you have Kevin Speary, who I like a lot, but you don't have as much pressure on this kid the first year, and then, man, you could maybe play him 4 or 5 games, redshirt him, and then bam, the next year he'd be ready to start, kind of take almost the Jameis Winston, role, you doing it where Jameis watched it for 1 year and then bam, took over the reins. So I think this is a guy that really can just change everything with impact with your offense. I had to rewatch this video like 3 or 4 times and I did it for like 30, 40 minutes, because he has got some of the most impressive, film, especially as far as the fit of what Gus does and what Norvell would love, and just in the amount of talent that you would add with him to have that type of quarterback. I think it just changed the whole dynamics of the FSU program, the way people view it right now. I think it would totally change everything.
Yeah, I can see why we're raving about him in the and by we I mean the people who do recruiting rankings, because it looks like the competition warmed up to him as well. He's the number 3 overall player in another top level recruiting service. He's a top 100 player for On 3. He's a 5-star, and you can see why here, Michael. Now there's a couple of layers I'd like to peel back here. Number one. In the reporting that I saw, Tony Tokarz was important in forming a relationship with this particular recruit. That's notable to me, because I was wondering, just from the outside looking in, Tony Tokarz is not a Gus Malzahn guy in terms of the history of his career. This is the first time that they're working together. To go land a player like this is a very important thing to be entrusted with. They're trusting Tony Tokarz to be one of the focal points of the relationship. That's not nothing here.
No, it's important. And I think it's vital to also note, like, the FSU's had really talented, quarterbacks. Luke Crumhock was a 5-star, prospect. They've recruited some really good ones. Had Brady Smigel, who was committed to them for one time. So they recruit really well. So Tony does this very well. This is an area that Tony does really well, and I'm not surprised they entrusted him. But that's when we started hearing, things start picking up steam with behind the scenes with FSU and Keisean when you started to see that the relationship keep developing. And like I said, this kid does not visit a lot of places, to my knowledge. He has not visited that many places, and for him, which we haven't even talked about, that locking in a June 9th official visit date, I think that's a big deal for FSU to go in there. He can be around the team, kind of illustrate your plan for him, and lay it all out, guys. Like, I don't care what it is, NIL,
Yep.
value, whatever you need to do, you know that's the time that they're going to do it. And I think this is one where you have a fantastic opportunity. And I think FSU has certainly done some really strong work behind the scenes and in getting this set up, for that official visit. And this is one where Mike's from Dallas, from Texas, so Mike has a lot of ties in the state of Texas, so he knows a lot of people. And then Gus, if I'm not mistaken, Gus is from Texas, so I think there's a lot of ties based on the offense, the fit. You add in Tony Tokarts, who he likes a lot. I think with the offense and what they would run, I think there's a lot there to like if FSU can pull this off.
As the second thing, the second layer I want to look at and examine, Michael, is the common thought is, and Gus Malzahn's track record shows, he doesn't necessarily have to have one of these prized high-level quarterbacks in order to succeed. Like he'll often, he has converted a defensive back into a quarterback and taken that kid to the national championship. So, and this year with Tommy Castellanos, it's not quite the same thing because Tommy's already a quarterback. But again, you're talking about somebody who's not exactly 6'5" or was a 5-star coming out of high school. Like Gus can make it work. But Florida State is swinging for the downs here to bring this kid in for an official visit, because you're right. I don't think you even get through the door if your NIL pitch isn't significant. And we know how expensive quarterbacks can be. So that Florida State makes this choice when in a Gus system, you don't really have to get a top flight 5-star for them to at least make this attempt. That is a big deal, Michael. I think that, again, for Gus's reputation, that this is a huge deal that they're going after a 5-star like this.
Not only that, you have Landon Duckworth, who's going to visit on the 13th of June, and then you have Jaden O'Neal, who's the other piece of it. He's visiting on the 15th. So that means you got this kid in earlier before anybody. So this is the kid. This is the one that really could change the dynamics of your program. We've heard stuff with Jaden O'Neal. First, it was like, FSU, could be the team, but then, now with the Bo Bentley part of it, LSU's getting heavily involved, and LSU might be a team to watch along with Oklahoma there, where we thought it was just going to be a layup for Oklahoma. So it's not a guarantee, but what I like about this is like they've recognized the fit of what it is, and there's nobody out of those three that fits FSU's offense of what they're going to run and what they're going to do than this kid. Like this kid's a level that's different from those guys. No disrespect to their talent. They're all three of them are talented. But this kid is a different level of how he can change your program. It's a different level of how he would help the staff, how he would help, their era as far as being there at FSU, and how he would shift the narrative of the way people view FSU. So I think it's a big shift. That it's the one guy I think would completely shift the way people view your program, or even way you view your program, to get a guy like this.
In short, that's not great analysis for me to just say, yeah. But I mean, look, Mike, if you were to get a commitment from this kid and you believed that, obviously it's going to hold all the way through signing day and you feel very good about locking him down, the numbers are the numbers and they're where they need to be. If Mike Norvell had a middling season, Like one of those, it's just on the fence. I don't know what we're going to do as an athletic department.
Right.
This would be something that pushes you over the line to say, we're keeping the head coach because he's got one of the top quarterbacks in the country coming into the program. So for Mike Norvell specifically, there are layers to this. Of course, you just want to be great in the recruiting trail. This would create incredible momentum for Florida State, all of those benefits. But then also for job security.
Yeah.
DJ Lagway helped save Napier's job in Gainesville.
He did.
The fact that he was there on campus helped them stick it out with Billy Napier. This would be like Michael. I didn't expect to read that on a random Thursday that Florida State was bringing in a top player like this, but here we are.
Yeah, it tips the scales. Certainly with the stuff you mentioned, with the job and the way people view and the way he's viewed as the people that are his bosses and the people around it, and it helps your staff more as a whole, I think. And then it's going to attract so much talent around him as far as receivers, running backs. I don't care what position you play. They're going to see this kid. If this kid goes to Florida State, he's a 5-star, then be like, okay, what are they doing over there at Florida State? I need to go check that out. And at the very least, you're going to have kids coming to check you out more and have more eyes on you. And the buzz will be there that it'll probably be an elite level that you haven't seen in a long time. But that's the kind of dynamic I'm talking about of why this is such big news for FSU to land an official visit from a guy like Keisean Henderson, who I really didn't study his film until recently, and so once I studied him, like, whatever you got to do, like, because this kid just changes, I think, so much inside your program of what you can do with your recruiting class, because not to be a dead horse, they have not had a top 10 class under Mike Norvell yet. Yep. I think that would kind of make you feel like, you know what, that can happen. A top 10 class if you get a kid like that, because you're going to add more talent around. And two, it would make you feel very comfortable with your future because you already have a guy I love in freshman Kevin Sperry. I think Kevin's going to be challenging for a job. I don't think it'll happen this year, but I think the following year, in years to come, he's going to be challenged for that starting spot. Then you add, a guy like this guy, that really makes your room a lot more enticing, and a lot more enticing. Not only does it help in high school, but it helps in the portal where kids are going to see that and they're like, hey, this is a guy I could be playing for. That's going to entice me to, hey, FSU is probably a place that I need to go see and seriously consider. So it just impacts so much. That's why I said, when I say this is the one, it's just like because it impacts so much stuff and it impacts so many people within FSU, especially Mike Norvell.
Yeah, this is again, they're shooting their shot. We'll see if they can pry this kid from Houston. Yep. Now he's not exactly committed to Texas at Austin.
Yeah.
Right? He's committed to Houston.
Right.
But I'm sure that the price is right for his NIL services at this point. They're probably using all of their 20 and a half to get to Houston. But the thing, again, I'll just close with this, Michael. The fact that they're willing to take this shot is notable. Like, I don't think they have to at this position. Again, I think Gus can get more out of less with talent. That they're willing to do this tells you that they're trying to make a statement. They are efforting to make a statement on the trail.
Yeah, because early in the spring, we heard this name, and there wasn't a lot. It was just like, some early conversations. And then, later in the spring, it got really heavy. And it was kind of like, okay, I think that's very notable that, hey, this is our guy. This is certainly one of the guys that we want, and we're going to shoot our shot, and we're going to go at it full throttle, NIL, value, program, pitch. Certainly, I have a feeling when he visits on June 9th, there's going to be some Cam Newton references in there as far as what he does with him and how that illustrates into this offense of what he would do with FSU. And the fact that Cam played so early. Right there, he got there. Bam, he was in there. So I think there's going to be a lot of illustration of the fit, and just the real thing is just nailing it with the comfort. And once you sell a quarterback and he's feeling it and the body language is reciprocated, it's real. So they certainly have a great opportunity here, and now they just got to make the most of it.
That's just a little over a week away for that official visit. That'll be on June the 9th. And quarterback dominoes will be falling for Florida State in general. over the course of that month, as Michael just laid out. More than just one 5-star on campus, Florida State is also bringing in some 4-star prospects for them to look and vet at the position. But if you want more information about this particular recruitment and all of the official visits that happen between now, then, and after, sign up at warchant.com for real-time information. Michael Langston has it for you. Mike Lasser has it for you. In the land of Michael Langston, known as the Premium Recruiting Board, it's an excellent forum on warchant.com, which has real-time updates as these official visits are happening. So be sure to join us at the largest FSU fan community at warchant.com. Sign up today, just $1 for your first week of membership. Michael, appreciate the information. I'm perked up now. I'm thinking, okay, all right. This is the kind of thing that when people are poking the program and they're saying, please give us some reason to be interested in recruiting. Well, there's a big one right there. This is going to be fun to cover. Yeah.
It'll be fun. It would be one of the most anticipated, I think, official visits for high school, because that's the other topic is their high school recruiting that, you could certainly use a boost. And so you have news like this, it definitely perks people up, and it perks you up where, okay, they can get this done. We can see the shift. We can see the shift in a major way. So now it's just about, putting everything together and putting the best presentation and laying it out and just knock it out of the park.
Spare no expense. I know the university is going to be in control of these things when the house settlement is done, but they're not 100% in control. Over my left shoulder, see, this is a brick from Doak Campbell Stadium, a signed Jared Verse piece of memorabilia. The Battle's End offers stuff like this. Spare no expense if you're Florida State and your Florida State supporters. Michael, appreciate the time as always and appreciate the insights.
My pleasure, buddy.